career titles, 2 Grand Slam championships, 2 Masters Series shields, 1 Davis Cup crown, a semi-final berth in every major. This is the continuing legacy of Australia's Patrick Rafter, who at the age of 28 is considering retirement from the game. Should he decide to exit stage left, Rafter leaves an impressive resume from a country rich in tennis tradition. The Rafter Farewell Tour is headed your way. The debilitating heat continues in the Midwestern portion of the United States. The only relief could be a predicted thunderstorm sometime this afternoon, as we welcome you to round of 16 action at the Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati. Our feature matchup, the number 8 seed Patrick Rafter. Will this be his last appearance in Cincinnati before retirement? He will take on the American wildcard James Blake. Hi everybody, I'm Cindy Schmerler alongside Jimmy Arias. And Jimmy, now we head into crunch time. 16 players left. This is a Masters Series event.
Having said that, a lot of seeds already have been knocked out, but Tim Henman, last year's runner-up, is still around against Nicholas Kiefer. Patrick Rafter has looked very strong, and his draw has opened up. He plays a wild card. Guillermo Cañas has upset Marat Safin. He tries to keep it going against Jan-Michael Gamble. And Gustavo Kier, number 1 seed, number 1 in the world, against Goran Ivanisevic, a man who won Wimbledon just a couple weeks ago, hasn't lost since.
Over on the grandstand court, the qualifier Stefan Kubek has already fallen to Greg Rosetsky, 6-3, 6-3. So Rosetsky marches on. He will face the winner of either Rafter and Blake. Lleyton Hewitt taking on Max Mirny. Alberto Martin, he's the man who knocked off Pete Sampras yesterday, taking on number 6 Yevgeny Kafelnikov.
Ivan Lubicic, a qualifier who played very well last week beating Agassi, is into the 3rd round against Hisham Arazi.
Yesterday, 2nd round, we saw the seeds drop all again. This was Greg Rosetsky taking on Gaston Gaudio. Remember, Gaudio had knocked out Andre Agassi. Rosetsky came out, double fault in the first 2 points, including a foot fault on the first point of the match, but his serve picked up from there.
Well, whole first set, no service breaks. Whole second set, no service breaks either in the entire match. And the only difference was once the tie break started, Rosetsky was dominant, even winning the baseline rallies.
In the end, Rosetsky had 17 aces, some of them in that tiebreak. Last night, Pete Sampras, what a struggle he's had. He has not won a tournament since Wimbledon 2000, and now he's losing to the likes of Alberto Martin.
Martin, a clay court player in the past, is not even one of the best clay court players, just a solid clay courter, and now on hard court, he's able to beat Pete Sampras in straight sets. Actually a routine match, 6-4, 6-4. Sampras only had a couple of break points, and they were in the first game. So Sampras has fallen on serious hard times.
Sampras at number 9 was the lowest seeding he'd had since 80 at the U.S. Open. And he didn't even make his seeding. Now, this is Guillermo Cañas taking on Michael Chang. And Michael Chang, for a moment, looked like the man who reached 4 finals here, winning 2 of them.
It was a tremendous first 2 sets. Quite a battle. They split them both, and then Chang started to tire right at this point. 2 serving 3. And Chang, suddenly his feet just weren't there any longer, and that was it for him because Cañas controlled things from that point on. Here's Chang serving down match point at 5-2. And this was a grueling affair from the baseline. A long, long match, a lot of tough points. Guillermo Cañas, the younger of the 2 men, comes through.
Guillermo Cañas marches on. He faces Jan-Michael Gamble. Other day 3 results, Patrick Rafter over Xavier Malisse. He has been rolling through this draw. James Blake earning the right to face Rafter with an upset of the number 10 seed Arnaud Clément.
Goran Ivanisevic continues to play well over Nicolas Escudé in straight sets. And Max Mirny, what a surprising score against Andre Pavel. Pavel just come off winning Tennis Masters Series Montreal.
Yevgeny Kafelnikov, he's talked briefly and sporadically about retirement at the end of this year. Not if he continues to beat players the likes of Santoro, losing just 5 games.
Tim Henman over young Tyke Lee in straight sets. Henman a runner-up last year. Nicholas Kiefer beating Todd Martin, playing well, Kiefer. And Jan-Michael Gamble has done tremendously well on hard court this year.
Big upset. Hisham Arazi knocking out the number 4 seed Juan Carlos Ferrero of Spain. That was a blistering match late in the afternoon that wore on and on and on.
And Lleyton Hewitt over Bodan Ularok, a 3-setter there. Hewitt continues to play fairly well. He's been so consistent all year.
And Number 1 seed Gustavo Kuerten at the top of the draw needed 2 tie breaks to take out Tommy Haas. No breaks of serve in that match either.
And Stefan Kubek, a qualifier, a couple qualifiers making it through to the 3rd round. He beat Sheng Xiaoqin in straight sets.
There are 16 players left in this Tennis Masters Series event. We began 4 days ago with 64. By the end of today, there will be just 8. It's Rafter and James Blake coming up next.
Sky to right center. Brady Anderson's got to come on toward the diamond and put it away. Throw behind the runner and got Alex Rodriguez.
Charles looked over the shot, seemed like an eternity, and gone with a wedge, try to skip it in the bank. Ooh, look at this.
That's the shot of the week. That's the shot of the year.
1st of October.
Donovan has 3. He has 4. It's tied.
A very difficult par 4 playing back into the wind today. That's a great shot. What a great shot. Kidding me? Wow. You just never know when they're going in, do you?
Clouds hover overhead, a harbinger of storms to come. Could be pretty stormy if James Blake can take out Patrick Rafter. This is the stadium court at the ATP Tennis Center just outside Cincinnati. Greg Rosetsky has already reached the quarterfinals. First man to do so, he will face the winner between Rafter and Blake.
Rosetsky playing well this week, serving well, but he's going to have his hands full, presumably with Patrick Rafter, although Rafter does have to beat the wild card, James Blake. But what an upset that would be if Blake somehow managed to beat Rafter. This is Blake's first time ever in a Tennis Masters Series event. He's more of a challenger type player.
James Blake in the first round beat Julien Bouter, and then the upset of Arnaud Clément yesterday. Jimmy, have we seen upsets particularly because of the debilitating conditions with the heat?
That certainly helps, because if you lose a first set, you're going to be a little tired. Here's the rest of this section of the draw. Lleyton Hewitt against Max Mirny. Mirny upsetting Andre Pavel. And Ivan Lubicic, a qualifier against Hisham Arazi. The seeds are all gone. The draw is wide open here for Lleyton Hewitt to meet Patrick Rafter, really, in the semifinals.
Lubicic beat Franco Scolari in the first round, and then Carlos Moya. Hewitt keeps marching on. He has dropped 1 set in these championships. That was to Bodan Ularov. Patrick Rafter beats James Blake for the first time on court when we come back.
ESPN presents Play Like the Pros.
A common mistake for a one-handed backhand is a tendency to open up too soon. Now, the way to correct this problem is to keep your non-dominant hand behind you longer so that you can stay with the ball. That way you can stay turned sideways and you can stay with the ball longer.
10,000 people can sit and watch tennis from the stadium court at the ATP Tennis Center. 5,000 can watch from the grandstand. 7 other courts around the ground. There is much action on this very busy Thursday afternoon. Already, Greg Rosetsky has taken out Stefan Kubek 6-3, 6-3. He is at the bottom section of the draw where Andre Agassi has gone home. Rosetsky unseated here. He's been a U.S. Open finalist. You look at the seeds, Jimmy, they are all gone.
Well, some of the top 8 are still around. You've got Gustavo Kuerten, Hewitt, Kafelnikov, Henman, and Rafter around, but 2, 3, and 4 out early. Agassi, Safin, that's happened the last 2 weeks in a row. And Juan Carlos Ferreira surprised in the second round in a tough marathon against Hisham Arazi, where Arazi was cramping up at the end. Pete Sampras seems to be gone early most tournaments, and now he's not even in the top 8 seeds any longer. He's gone in the second round. Clement, Enquist, Johansson out in the first round. Enquist, the defending champion. Carlos Moya, second round, and Ferrer Urbati, first round casualties. And look at Goran Ivanisevic, the only one of the bottom 8 seeds still alive.
About a month ago, Ivanisevic would have been begging for an invite into these championships. In fact, he is a wild card here because the draw was done before, or the entries were done before Wimbledon, so his ranking wasn't high enough. He went from the bottom 100 in the world to up to number 14, where he is seated here. What a run for Goran Ivanisevic, and he continues to play.
Well, he made that run in just one event at Wimbledon. What a move. If you're going to win a tournament, that's the one to win. And so he's now suddenly seated in the big events. What a break for Ivanisevic, and he keeps it going.
Funny, this man right here would have liked to have won Wimbledon too. He said that was the one that destroyed him so far this year. He's frustrated. As great a year as he's having, he hasn't won an event. Semifinals of the Australian Open, runner-up at Wimbledon, runner-up last week in Montreal to Andre Pavel. He needs to win them. That's what he says in his own mind.
Absolutely, and he's beautifully situated to at least make the semifinals here with the way the draw has opened up for him. The seeds are gone from his section. He's in the third round playing James Blake. James Blake is in uncharted territory for him this far along in a big event. But Patrick Rafter, 28 years old, he's been in these type of matches for a number of years now. He currently lives in Bermuda, but he'll be right back in Australia once he retires at the end of the year, if he presumably does retire.
He has confirmed over and over again this week that at the very least he will take 6 months off. People can't believe that given these results, semis at the Australian, Miami, Hull, finalist at Wimbledon and Montreal, that he wouldn't reconsider. And all along, Jimmy, he has said, at the very least, I'll take 6 months off, then I'll see how I feel. I frankly would be a little surprised if he came back after that 6-month hiatus.
So would I. I think he's probably done. You can see his record, 35-12. It's a great way to go out if you're going to go out near the top your last year. Why not? He's had enough of the traveling. I'd like to see him win a couple of more big events, but this man will hope that he doesn't win this event in Cincinnati. James Blake, he's only 21 years old, from Fairfield, Connecticut, although he's practicing out of Tampa now. Currently 136th place on the Champions race. He's just been a pro for a little while. You can see the prize money not quite up to Rafter's level yet, only $211,000. I think that's what Rafter made last week.
He was a semifinalist in Newport. He lost to Martin Lee, 7-6 in the third, 7-5 in the tiebreak. Beat Vladimir Bolchkov, Peter Vessels. First round, Los Angeles to Andre Agassi. Round of 16 in a challenger in Aptos, California. That challenger is famous because it's the one that Andre Agassi went and played when he dropped out of sight in tennis. But James Blake, what a story. He didn't even have the wild card here, Jimmy. Last Friday, 3 days before the start of the event, Richard Krajicek pulled out with that sore elbow. They called up James Blake and said, hey, kid, want to come play?
He was already there, ready to play qualies. He was all set, and he said, well, you know, I guess it'd be better to get straight in, and straight in he got. And he's made the most of this wild card, winning 2 matches.
Fergus Murphy in the chair.
A big win, really, for him in the second round, Arnaud Clément, the biggest win of his career so far.
Here's Tony Roach, Patrick Rafter's coach. What a wonderful team they have made over the last several years as Davis Cup captain and pupil. And there is Patrick's brother, Peter, excuse me, there are 9 of them. So you get them confused every once in a while.
Especially when they're wearing hat, shades, and everything else.
There's Laura Feltham, Patrick's longtime girlfriend. Laura, a swimsuit model back in Australia. And Jimmy, when you spend a little bit of time with any of the Rafter clan, you know why Patrick is as great a guy as he is and why he's been talking retirement as he has.
I said that I will most probably retire. I never said I'd definitely retire. It's something that I want to look at the end of the year. The tour is tough. It's a great tour, but it's a very long and very tough one. And Davis Cup makes it long. There's so many tournaments we have to play now, and I want to be able to walk when I'm 40 years old. I don't want to have a hip replacement. I don't want to have all these things. So, and that's another thing I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking at things right now. A lot of people don't understand that. But I know, hearing what Edberg said when he stopped, he said, I want to be able to walk and do fun things when I'm 40 years old. And that's exactly what I want to do.
To me, it all began for Rafter when he had that shoulder surgery. He was laid up for several months, went home to Australia, and you know what? He had a great time.
That was the problem. He had too much fun. He realized, boy, I've been missing a great time, although I don't know if it's a great time forever, the rest of his life, if he can handle that as much. Well, it doesn't look like James Blake is all that uptight to start this match. He's not known for his tremendous ground strokes by any stretch of the imagination. More of a serve, big serve. Rafter doesn't know what to expect. He said he's seen very little of Blake. He said, if I remember right, he's got a good serve. That's about all I know.
15.
Blake had a tremendous last year of college. As you see, Rafter has made his career so great, that serve and volley. 41-4 record.
Well, to be fair, though, he wasn't
15.
playing the likes of the big schools. He was playing for Harvard in the Ivy League. He was playing the likes of Cornell and
Yeah, it's not quite
University of Pennsylvania.
bunny schools. Is that what you're saying? I didn't know Pennsylvania actually counted as an Ivy League school.
It does when you haven't gone to college. James Blake was ranked #1 collegiately in 1999. Last year, James Blake played World Team Tennis for the first time. He was named Rookie of the Year. Played for the Hartford Fox Force.
Well, Blake is going to have to learn right away that you can't expect to hit a clean win and return against Rafter. He hit that return and posed for a minute. He thought he had gotten it by Rafter, and then had to take off for the sprint. Rafter holds serve in the first game. Now we'll see what Blake serves if it gives Rafter any trouble.
Blake made his Grand Slam debut at the U.S. Open in 1999. He earned that by virtue of his results in college, was given a wild card. Lost to Chris Woodruff of the United States, another former collegiate champion, in 3 sets, 6-2, 6-2, 6-1, won just 5 games. He's got an older brother, Thomas, plays some doubles with him. In fact, they won a challenger a couple of years ago in Illinois. Blake's seen plenty of Rafter. In fact, Blake was the practice partner for the United States against Australia in the Davis Cup.
15.
That was the centennial match at the Longwood Cricket Club, summer of '99. Blake was runner-up at the NCAA Collegiate Championships in 1999. Lost in 3 sets to Jeff Morrison of the University of Florida. Morrison was here this week.
He qualified.
Morrison did qualify, then he lost to Yuri Novak in the first round.
15.
Very nice play from Blake. This is one of the things Rafter said before the match, not knowing his opponent. He said, I'll try chipping and charging to the backhand. If I get past, okay. I'll try to the other side. He's just not sure. He said that the beginning of the match is difficult against an unknown player because you don't know exactly how to attack, which ways are the best. That's certainly never the best, to push a forehand long.
Blake was in the final of the NCAA championships. Had he won it, he would have been the first player from Harvard to win the collegiate championship since 1960. He was also trying to join Arthur Ashe as the only African-American man to win the collegiate championships.
14-30.
Serve and volley, but look at how far behind the service line Blake is for that first volley. If you're going to serve and volley, you've got to take your lessons from Rafter. Get in as quick as you can.
Game Blake.
Sweet volley, very aggressively played.
Blake playing without fear.
1 game.
Jimmy, what a marker in your career to be able to say, hey, I played Patrick Rafter in his last year. And then maybe to say I beat Patrick Rafter.
That's what would be the real marker for him. Blake's getting to that ranking level. He's getting close to the top 100 in the world. Pretty soon he's starting we start being able to get into a few more events, bigger events. So tough in men's tennis now when you have to make your points from the challengers. There's a lot of good players in those challengers.
Let's first off.
And the points just aren't there.
Blake was a fine junior in the United States, runner-up at the USTA Boys 18 Championships. Lost to a kid from Florida named Rudy Raquet.
He was supposed to be the next great American, and I don't know, he's fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah, he won the Orange Bowl.
Usually that type of player continues to do well. You'll at least hear from him again.
$15 all.
$15 all.
Rafter started off not sharp. Just missed a couple of drop volleys. Now double fault. Blake's got a little opportunity here in the early part of this match. Very important for him to perhaps get up a break of serve.
30.
Serve there by Rafter. One of the reasons Rafter's talking retirement is that it is so physically grueling on his body. He's a workhorse. He's not somebody for whom tennis comes easily.
No, he's a very physical player, Patrick Rafter. He wins because of his athletic ability, but he has to work so hard. He's sprinting to the net on every point, behind every serve, and he's making hard cuts, quick moves. And that takes its toll on a body over time. Blake's had a couple opportunities he hasn't capitalized on. Rafter's serve doesn't seem to have much on it.
Remember, Rafter is susceptible to the heat. There you see Lleyton Hewitt, Rafter's countryman, in all kinds of trouble against Max Mirny over on the grandstand. Look at that. Inside out pass return. Remember, Rafter, 2 key matches in the last 8 months, he cramped, and there were different cramping reasons. Everybody assumes that when he cramped against Juan Carlos Ferrer at the Davis Cup, when he cramped against Agassi at the Australian Open, it was loss of fluid. He was tested. Dozens and dozens of tests on him to find out why that kept happening.
Advantage Rafter.
Finally, it was determined that the Ferrero was more out of energy loss. He'd been out cheering through that whole Ferrero-Hewitt match. I mean, the whole previous match involving Lleyton Hewitt and Alex Correia. And he was screaming his lungs out. And he just got himself too hyped up. He zapped himself of energy. The Agassi was the conditions, and those conditions are not entirely unlike the ones they're playing in today.
Except it was 3 out of 5 sets. This is only 2 out of 3.
Beautiful top spin lob. He brings down the high backhand volley. Rafter is on serve with James Blake.
Get ready for a wild ride this August with a never-before-seen assortment of sordid schemes and outrageous affairs as we present our premiere season of Dirty Tricks. A scintillating collection of explosive comedy that'll put a spring in your step. 6 jilted wives decide to live it up behind closed doors. Forbidden encounters and blackmail abound in the Greek comedy Female Company.
I do not negotiate.
When a man past his prime attracts 3 beautiful ladies, he's beside himself. France dishes up a confusing comedy in God's Got My Number. And a friend in need is a friend indeed, but a friend who's dead leads to big, big trouble. It's an international mission of revenge, Russian style, in the explosive Brother 2. So prepare yourself for our international feast of indecent adventures premiering this August, only on World Movies. Are you ready?
Serve, first set, Stadium Court. Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati, James Blake serving to Patrick Rafter.
Overrule, not that immediate. Took a little while for that overrule to happen.
Blake learned to play tennis at through the Harlem Junior Tennis League. He played in their clinics.
His brother's also a pretty good player, Thomas Blake.
He teamed with Thomas at Harvard and in the juniors.
Oh, that's good.
15.
Thomas was also an All-American at Harvard. He's got 3 half-brothers, 1 half-sister. His dad, Thomas, is a salesman. That Harlem Junior Tennis League, by the way, is open to kids. Get them off the street, but you have to have a C grade point average or better. There's a pass up the line. The whole point of that program, Jimmy, is to keep kids academically motivated. Thus, they say you have to have academic credentials, so I guess you couldn't get in.
Well, I kept the C average, so I could have gotten in.
$40-15. Passes from Blake.
I'm impressed with Blake's ground strokes. He's actually got a very nice all-around game. The only thing I've seen that might cause him a little trouble in this match is every once in a while he hits a slice backhand that's so short it's almost begging Rafter to come in, and that's exactly where Rafter wants to be. Don't want to give Rafter any extra motivation to get to the net. That's where he's the most dangerous.
Yeah, but he was there on the last 2 points and Blake passed him.
Just don't see him doing it all match long. And that's Rafter's strategy. He knows he'll get past a few times.
15.
Rafter's serve doesn't seem to have much movement on it today, and Blake is, that's a great return. I mean, Rafter's forced to come up with some tough low volleys. I know he is capable of doing that, but his serve usually has a little more bite on it than we've seen today. Remember, he has had shoulder problems, including surgery.
Again, the conditions are heavy.
Out. 30 love.
When Rafter was having all those problems with cramping, he got hundreds of emails, his brother said. All these crazy rituals and remedies and all the things that he should be doing to get rid of his cramping.
It's strange in some respects that it would suddenly start happening to him. Normally a person that cramps is cramped throughout their career.
Rafter.
Ace out wide for Rafter and a love hold. Patrick Rafter looking to win the Tennis Masters Series event here in Cincinnati.
A moment with Jaime Moreno.
Yo creo que tuvo mucha suerte llegar al fútbol profesional porque
The truth is that I was lucky to get to professional football because I was only 17 when I arrived at the national team and won my first Copa America. Everything happened so fast that I didn't believe it myself. I think I was very lucky, but my luck was full of hard work and sacrifice.
A mi suerte también la ayudé con todo mi trabajo, mi sacrificio.
The Kart FedEx Championship season races on as the teams head to Lexington, Ohio. The 13 turns of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is the challenge for the best open-wheel drivers in the world. The teams head into the August stretch with Sweeten's Kenny Brack leading the pack. So sit back, strap in, and go, go, go. The Miller Lite 200, live Monday on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Hardest to really improve my backhand. I felt like in college and in juniors that was a particular weakness for me, and I've tried to make strides to make it at least not a weakness. It's definitely not my strength yet, but I'm just trying to make it so it's good enough to compete out here on tour, and I feel like it's getting there, and hopefully it'll keep improving. I'm going to keep working on it.
That's James Blake on his weaknesses.
Well, hopefully Rafter didn't see that interview, so he doesn't know to keep attacking the backhand side. He has come to net a couple times to his forehand. Blake has passed him well with his forehand.
See why this young man went to Harvard. Very thoughtful, intelligent.
15.
We'll all be working for him someday. He says his role model was Arthur Ashe. He met Arthur. And Ashe spoke to the Harlem Junior Tennis Program when he was a student.
30 love.
And listen to his role model quote, because of his personality and his activities off the court, I use him as an inspiration. Couldn't have a better role model, could you?
Well, he does have that same demeanor on the court as Ashe, at least so far. Seems very quiet, thoughtful when he's out there. Well, the problem in this match for Blake is his second serve doesn't seem to have quite enough to bother Rafter. Rafter's made a few weak returns when he's chipped in charge, but if he gets a hold of a couple, gets into the backhand, Blake's going to have trouble passing over and over from that side.
14-15.
Blake began the year runner-up at a challenger event in Hawaii. Lost there to Andy Roddick. What happened to him?
That's done okay.
First off.
We had all the young Americans heading off to Waikoloa, Hawaii for that challenger event. Roddick, the Bryan brothers. That's the same lines person all week, giving the fits to the players.
14-30.
Blake saying he pulled up, but that's 2 times in a row now. He hasn't been too solid on the backhand pass on second serve. He's got to figure out a strategy to combat that chip and charge. One thing, he might want to think about serving and volleying himself on second serve. He's lost all 3 points where he's missed his first serve in this game. And that's what happens. The player's attacking you and attacking you. You go for a little more in the second serve, a little deeper, causes the double fault. He's got to realize there's ways to combat that chip and charge tactic. One of them is serve out wide on the second serve. So the Rafter has to come in from an angle. You've got a nice angle to pass with. The other is get your first serve in. That's the first key, which he just did there. And the third play is serve and volley yourself. Force Rafter to think about it. He's going to then have to make a very aggressive chip.
Behind him. All over in the stadium. Max Mirny at 4-1. Lleyton Hewitt. The Aussies are struggling right now. Rafter and Hewitt played doubles together last week. They lost to the Bryan brothers. An ace from Blake out wide, so he held. Saves a break point.
3 games left. Love 15.
After now with a double fault.
Frustration from Rafter because he doesn't have the same, like 106 mile an hour on his serve. Every serve's been in that range.
He's played a lot of tennis.
He has. Well, he was in the finals last week. It's been hot, humid conditions. Last week in Montreal, Rafter seemed to play every match at night other than the final, so he wasn't really used to these conditions either, this much of heat and humidity.
These are the worst possible conditions for him. Some bodies handle it better than others. Sampras doesn't handle it well. Rafter doesn't handle it well.
Rafter has had a pretty nice run here. He hasn't had really a difficult of a match, especially a second round match, 6-love, 6-3. For Xavier Malisse, he had almost a walk through the park yesterday.
No jaunt today.
One of the few good backhand passing shots we've seen from Blake. We've seen some nice forehands. He's hit some good returns. He finally stayed down and threw that backhand. But you can see Rafter starting to pick up on that. He's picking on the backhand side almost too much. Blake will start waiting over there. He won't have doubt in his mind on where Rafter's going.
Oh!
14-30.
But again, the backhand pass just not quite strong enough. This is right at Rafter's racket. Rafter didn't do as much with that volley as he normally does, and give Blake credit. He made a good move to get there and try to pull it cross court.
Mirny up 5-1 and serving for the first set.
Mirny 6-1, 6-1 yesterday against Pavel. Now 5-1 against Lleyton Hewitt. What a 3 sets.
Game. Rafter, new ball, please.
Rafter holds. He's not cruising. Nearly maybe, but Rafter is on serve with James Blake on the stadium.
Having trouble getting up in the morning? Wake up with Corey Everson's Gotta Sweat. Then get the blood flowing with Body Shaping. And finish off with Kiana's Flex Appeal, Tuesdays through Fridays on ESPN.
Stadium court, the ATP Tennis Center, Kings Island Amusement Park. It's just a bridge walk away. There's no amusement now for Rafter and James Blake. They're on serve. And one break point that was saved by Blake.
15.
Rafter has not really found the rhythm yet on his return of serve. He's not doing a very commendable job of returning first serves, but the last game he got to Blake with his second serve return. That's a lazy looking return from Rafter.
Love, fourth ace for Blake. He's out acing Patrick Rafter.
Well, Rafter's serve has not had the normal bite. By the way, Blake's serve hasn't looked that huge. There's a 114-mile-an-hour serve. He's hit some 120. That's not a huge serve in today's game. Rafter's just not sharp so far in this match. He's not serving with his normal intensity, and his return has been off.
The operative words there would be in today's game.
No, that's
scary
true.
to think that, you know, now we're measuring serves by
you
the
got to be
likes of
130.
Andy
Yeah, you've got to be
Roddick
130 to 140 to start scaring anyone.
How big did Eric Carita serve? He was one of those big John Sodry.
Eric Carita actually had a 140-mile-an-hour serve that I saw him clocking. They were trying to get him to say he could serve 140 miles an hour for a print ad that Prince was doing for him, and he did reach 140. Unfortunately, Carita never really wanted to practice, and then eventually caught up to him.
This man says that's the reason he won't be here in his 30s, is that he has to practice. And that's, Jimmy, another aspect of Rafter's decision. He said, I can't go away for 6 months, then suddenly reappear as if I've never left.
Although it seems like he's got his game so well structured and mapped out that he probably doesn't need as much practice as he thinks he does any longer. I think he could volley in his sleep.
Rafter with a love hold, his second of the match. He is up 5-4. Blake is serving to stay in this first set.
Gilles de Ferran, the 2000 kart FedEx champion. By the length of his car, he beat out the best drivers in the world to capture his crown. He returns to the track a marked man as the defending champion. Racing's finest, Gilles de Ferran, one of the pillars of ESPN.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
ESPN brings you the fastest quarter mile in sports. NHRA drag racing. Feel the power as high-octane land rockets risk everything for speed. The hot rods are on ESPN, your home for motorsport.
Pat Rafter says, though, it's a surprise to play Blake, and he doesn't know a whole lot about him. Every match he's played this week has been a little like that.
First-time matches, although Blake more of an unknown than Portes and Xavier Malisse, who he played the first two matches.
Look at that. Max Mirny 6-1 over Lleyton Hewitt in the first set.
What's funny is it's not as easy as it looks. There's another backhand pass attempt, that time a topspin lob. If he misses, if Blake misses first serves, he's in trouble in this game, serving to stay in the set. Rafter is just going to bore in on that weakness.
About 15.
First off.
Now an opening. Interesting, Jimmy Rafter was asked yesterday, does he go around the locker room and ask people about somebody like James Blake? And he joked, said, yeah, sure, I'll go up to Todd Martin and ask him what he's like. He said, no, you don't, out of respect, go up to someone from your opponent's country. You have to ask a friend of yours, somebody you're really close to. He said he could go up to Lleyton Hewitt, who's a kid, and ask him maybe if he's ever played with him or practiced with him. But he can't go up to any Americans.
No, that's about right. It seems like the countries are little cliques. They all hang together. And
yeah, because you really
not going to betray
with Courier and Agassi. Triple set point.
Blake's going to have to think about a little bit more serve and volley.
15-14.
Just to keep Rafter away from the net. He doesn't want to have to face backhand passing shots when the pressure is on. That's, as he admitted, his weakness is backhand.
Blake faced a break point in the 6th game, saved it, and then served an ace to hold.
Well, he served awfully well so far in break points.
Speaking of aces.
Tentative point from Rafter. He had a short ball that he could have come to net on, and he chose to stay back and get in a rally, and then he hit a couple of short balls. Speaking of Todd Martin, there he is watching James Blake.
With a couple of kids on either side, you gotta love that about Todd Martin. He's a wonderful ambassador for this game. Another break opportunity and set point. Martin, 31 years old. He's got to be thinking about the end.
Well, he's injured so often as well.
Lost here to Nicholas Kiefer.
That's 4 break and set points that Blake saved. He's gotten a first serve in every single time. Controlling things with his forehand. Rafter's a little bit tentative. It's almost like Rafter doesn't respect Blake enough. He thinks all I got to do is get it back in play. That's not good enough. He's going to have to play his game aggressive and get to the net.
Did you see what he did there? He threw up that lob, literally turned his back on it, started to walk away, and then suddenly said, well, maybe I can make some effort. And a very meager forehand into the middle of the net gives Blake the hold of serve. In the tan shirt, Brian Barker, Blake's personal coach. They've been together a long time.
Since he was 10 years old, and that's Todd Martin. Doubles partner watching.
Todd's got a dinosaur on his shirt. Is that implying that he's a dinosaur in this game?
He's not there yet.
He's younger than you.
15.
Todd always reminds me of, you know, Ward Cleaver or Father Knows Best. Expect him to walk through with a suit and a briefcase.
Even when he was 21, that's a...
Look at that top spin lob.
Don't often see Rafter frozen up at the net where he isn't able to make a move. This is one of the few times you'll see it. He didn't see this coming, just couldn't make a move back for it.
Suddenly, Jimmy, you get a sense that one of these men really wants it and the other one...
Without a doubt, you can see the difference in the intensity, and Blake's the one that really wants it.
And believes it a little bit right now.
I think he just really hopes. I don't think he believes yet.
14-15.
Rafter has held serve with ease, and Blake struggled. Blake has an area where Rafter can attack, and that is on second serves. He can keep attacking that backhand. That eventually should take its toll on Blake.
Rafter's dropped 8 points on serve.
Rafter said last week in Montreal, his first couple rounds, he wasn't that interested.
Well, he's interested right now. He's interested in getting off the court, but only if he can do so with a victory. Rafter's up 6-5 first set. Blake serving to try to force the tiebreak.
The characters are real.
You got something important to say, I can tell.
The story is true.
This guy is the ultimate insider. He's got something to say. He wants to say it. I want it on 60 Minutes.
The facts are shocking.
The key witness in the biggest public health reform issue in U.S. history. Are we going to air it? Of course not. Because the more truth he tells, the worse it gets.
Russell Crowe.
It screwed me. It sold me out.
Is the insider. Premiering 8:30 Sunday.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
My God, you can't measure this man's courage! The Rock's got the cover!
You're looking at the next WWF champion.
The Rock's returning to the WWF, the 13th SummerSlam. Live on Main Event, Monday, August 20, 10 a.m. Call 1-300-300-666 and book now.
By the end of today, we will be down to the Sweet 8 at the Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati. Another round of 16. Jan Michael Gamble from the United States taking on Guillermo Cañas of Argentina. Cañas has had a wonderful run, beaten Michael Chang last night in 2 hours and 21 minutes, 6-2 in the third set. Gamble has not yet dropped a set. Check your local listings for times in your area. James Blake serving, trying to force a tiebreak. Blake playing doubles with Todd Martin. They'll take on the Bryan brothers from the United States. 4 Americans. Bryan brothers trying to grab the Davis Cup doubles spot. U.S. captain Patrick McEnroe saying he likes to go with youth, but Donald Johnson and Jared Palmer are the Wimbledon champions. Such an octopus. The arm just sort of slips out.
That's why I said it's so seldom that you see him frozen up at the net. He always makes a move. He almost always seems to be in the right area, going in the right direction. $121-mile-an-hour serve for Blake. As I said, not bad, but not huge in today's game any longer, and Rafter shouldn't be having the amount of trouble he is. That serve only 110.
14-15.
Rafter's just a little sluggish today, a little off, and it's given this man James Blake a real opportunity for a huge upset. Blake has shown a fairly nice volley throughout this match until that one. Tried to go with the touch. He's hit nice, strong, attacking volleys. Two bad volleys in a row for Blake. This is the kind of match where you just don't see Blake being able to come through in the big points against Rafter, although I wouldn't have thought he could against Clement yesterday, and he did.
I wouldn't have thought it would save 4 set points a couple of games ago.
Here he is now at deuce, second serve. I'd be shocked if Rafter doesn't chip in charge here to the backhand side. And I'm shocked. Stayed back and paid the price for staying back with a poor slice back, and he's made a lot of unforced errors for him today, Rafter.
Point for the tiebreak. I think he's physically spent. As you say, he looked a little bit disinterested last week. He's physically tired. He's mentally tired.
He said it.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not, first couple matches, I wasn't that interested in. Now that the draw's wide open, I am. Yearning up a set and a break now. Oh, Blake has played the points correctly, had the volleys to finish things off, has missed now 3 times.
Jimmy Rafter's not unlike Sampras and Agassi, who would say the tournament really for them starts in the quarterfinals.
You got to get to the quarterfinals, and he has been doing it. Let's not take that away from him. But he's making things a little more difficult today than he needs to. Not a lot of energy and effort from Rafter, and this is the only time I've ever seen Rafter like this.
James Blake with one more chance to force the tiebreak against Patrick Rafter. This is the Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati. A forehand winner on the run by James Blake, and they are into the tiebreak. on Stadium Court.
And there's a serious amount of difference between these two guys in intensity out here right now. Blake is fired up. Rafter is almost just going through the motions in some ways. He's not the Rafter we normally see, diving, running, scrapping for everything.
This is a round of 16 match at the Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati. Cindy Schmirler along with Jimmy Arias, and this is something I will miss, and that is the sorry mate.
Yeah, he says that in every match. He's got a lot of mates. Every match he's ever played, he's had at least one sorry mate where a bad ball toss stops him from serving.
First point tie break. Well, he's as salty and as regular as anybody is on tour.
1-0. Blake.
That's what endears Rafter to so many people. He doesn't hold back. He's not guarded. You know, Lleyton Hewitt has his game face on all the time. Rafter, you could be sitting around having a Foster's with.
Hey, Rafter's made things far more difficult than they needed to be in this set. He's already had 4 set points. He has not played aggressively at all. He's let Blake into this set, and Blake's taking advantage.
2-0.
Blake.
Take a look at the difference in this match. 13 winners only for Rafter. He's normally far higher than that with his serve and volley. To 22 for Blake. 7 errors to 12. Rafter's not sharp up at the net. You'd normally see him make that volley. He doesn't have the same movement, the same intensity at the net.
And I don't have the sense that he's going to show it, even in the second set if he loses this one.
He might not.
48 minutes.
3-2.
Unless Blake can help him out.
Well, you would think the way the set went, Blake is the one who was under pressure on his own serve. Rafter was holding serve fairly comfortably. But it would be Rafter with the advantage in this tiebreak, but he's lost 2 points on his serve already.
Blake.
Smart play from Blake, serve and volley. I like that idea. He keeps Rafter off the net. That's the most important thing. And Rafter just isn't moving that well yet today. Don't know if it'll get any better.
A little after 2 o'clock local time. Heat of the day. Kids with Todd Martin have bailed out on him.
He started yelling at him, said, "Get out of here, kids, it's my box."
No, never. That's not like Todd Martin.
Oh. Big point, big shot from Rafter, but again, why so tentative? He's not hitting the ball with any sort of authority. He's letting Blake dictate play, and he had to come up with a good forehand hook around Blake. Blake shouldn't be unhappy. He played a nice point. He wanted to have a little more angle. That's what he was showing you on that volley. That's a big return off another slow serve, not a lot on it, and Blake punished him.
5-3, Blake.
Don't want to serve right in that strike zone. A great volley from Rafter, but we're accustomed to seeing those type of pickups. Rafter's going to have to get fortunate here to win this set from this point. That was a little better. That was the first second serve that had a little something on it. You could see how much it jumped when Rafter's serving well. His kick serve really moves. Rafter again forced to have to win one of these 2 points on Blake's serve. Just a little lack of experience from Blake. A couple of errors at the wrong times. That was a routine shot for him.
It's the first time Rafter's drawn even in this tiebreak. So lax.
6-5, Blake.
No, Rafter just doesn't have it today. Doesn't have any energy at all, and I don't know how he's going to find some. We're still in the first set, and he's down set point.
Rafter says major goals winning the Davis Cup for Australia. He was on a squad that won it a couple of years ago, but he didn't play at the end. He was hurt. So he's got the miniature Davis Cup in his possession, but that's not what he wants. He wants to be a contributing member to a victorious squad for Australia. Lleyton Hewitt's broken back. First chance he's had in this match.
I just cannot believe the way Rafter. I've never seen Pat Rafter play like this.
I don't think I've ever seen him tag a ball out of the court.
I don't think I have either. Now all we need is for him to yell out an audible obscenity. We've got Andre Agassi too.
Well, that he might do. He has, as I said, a salty mouth. Safe, polite way to put it? Sure.
He's down set point on Blake's serve now. And I like Blake's attitude. He says, I'm serving and volleying. I'm going to put some pressure. Don't know if he'll do it again, since now Rafter may be expecting it. Oh, man.
Not my racket. Oh, my.
7-all.
Good first volley. This roller not quite good enough. Blake was there, and he should have made that volley.
But look at the way it sits on the top of the net. Could have rolled over. Oh.
Didn't throw his racket with a lot of anger. Just sort of dropped it.
Now that was disbelief more than anything else, but you had to see the look on the face of the fan behind him. An older gentleman with the exact same expression that Blake had.
Blake now faced with a second serve, and Rafter should chip in charge. I don't know if his energy will allow him to.
Doesn't, but he doesn't have to. Now a set point for Rafter.
He started trying to come in. He didn't do enough of that return. He realized it, so he stayed back and came up with the forehand pass. He's made very few first serves in this tiebreak. So he says, all right, I've had enough of that one. I'm going to a new racket, see if this one serves better.
Rafter had 4 set points about 20 minutes ago, and this is exactly the position he didn't want to be in. He said, get off the court quickly. That's the goal today. Forehand pass return just wide. A look of respect from Rafter to Blake, but it's Rafter who's got the first set.
The world of break beats.
Experience the wonders of nature with ESPN's Photo Safari. Each week, seasoned guides track down the most elusive and dangerous creatures on Earth, forever capturing them on film. Get creative tips from expert photographers on how to improve your own wildlife shots. It's the thrill of the hunt. Photo Safari, only on ESPN.
Most boys from Georgia dream about playing football. Not us. We chose a different path. College soccer at South Carolina, then on to a pro club in Chicago, New York, and now the U.S. national team. We chose right. I'm Clint Mathis. I'm Josh Wolf. We believe in Major League Soccer.
Hard court match leaders this year. Jan Michael Gamble, he's had a heck of a run, and he's still in these championships. Andre Agassi's had a good run, but he's out of here, and Lleyton Hewitt may be well out of here as well.
Patrick Rafter is on this list as well, 22-6, a very solid record this year. He's struggling today, however.
Roger Federer out injured. Several players missing in action. This late point in the season, Mark Philippoussis is out too. Question is, will he be back by the U.S. Open?
Will he be back ever, really? He's struggled now with his knees. I don't know if you ever come back fully from all the injuries he's had there.
Oh, Krajicek in the same boat.
Second set, Blake Tussaud.
First point, second set. Rafter won the first, 9-7 in the tiebreak.
Blake has gotten tight a couple of times now. He's only been in this position against big-name players a few times. He served for the second set against Agassi a couple of weeks ago in L.A. and lost that set. He got a little tight against Rafter. He really should have won the set from the point that he had gotten it to. Once he got in the tiebreak and was up set points, he led virtually the entire tiebreak long.
40. Big serve there, 40-love lead.
124, now we're talking. Now we're getting up into the big servers.
Oh.
14-15.
This is Rafter's 8th appearance in Cincinnati. Missed it last year with a sore shoulder. They played exactly 1 hour. 1999, he was runner-up to Pete Sampras.
40-30.
Right on the line. That year he beat Chang Kafelnikov. Didn't drop a set until the final. The year before, 98. Champion here. Beat Sampras 6-4 in the third. In that match, he lost the first set 6-1, won the second in a tiebreak. And then won it 6-4 in the third. 97, he lost to Pete Sampras in the round of 16.
Deuce.
Blake doing the smart thing, going to his towel. He's just thrown away a couple of points. Double fault, a bad forehand, one good forehand from Rafter. He's gotten this game back to deuce. And slight opening again for Rafter. He should be really pumped up to get a break and put this man away. Just not enough on this chip. Sat there for Blake to wait all day, set up, pounded down the line, even had time to wait to see where Rafter would move.
Game, Blake. First game.
Blake holds, but it wasn't easy. Think you're racing around with these players? Try the Italian Summer Series. It's the TIM Cup, Juventus versus Inter Milan versus AC Milan. Join ESPN for the Italian Summer League as Juventus, Inter Milan, and AC Milan face off in a triangle tournament for the TIM Cup. Inter Milan is coached by former Valencia manager Hector Cooper. They hope to have Ronaldo back from a knee injury. Juventus are gearing up for the Champions League and Serie A action. They're led by Alessandro Del Piero. Blake on the run. That was a big hold for him because you're up 40 love, suddenly it's deuce. He has not folded.
No, he's had opportunities to fold. The only time was in the tiebreak and his volley that he missed on set point that climbed up the top of the tape, almost rolled over for him. Came back on his side. And Rafter is finding things difficult when he serves to Blake's forehand. Problem is, Blake doesn't have much of an answer for this kick serve when Rafter gets it up there to the backhand. When he uses a little bit of effort, see the result. Easy high volley. Blake still struggles with that backhand up high.
$40-15.
40-15. Andre Agassi says of Rafter, you want a guy like that around. You want him working for you. You want him on the tour. You want him related to you. So the game will certainly miss him when he goes. Blake was unsure of a call.
I didn't hear anything. Nothing happened up here, James.
James thought it was a let cord. And Rafter, acting as big brother, goes up to sort of talk to him about it a little bit.
Second.
They replayed the point. I think Rafter gave him the let.
That's unbelievable.
I think Rafter heard it too and said, I heard it. Well, this is why Agassi says stuff like that about Rafter, as does everyone.
See how Rafter didn't move for that volley, for that second passing shot? That's just stuff you don't see from Rafter. A good first volley. And now that ball one step away, really, one lunge away. And normally, Rafter's at least going to make that move.
Very interesting development. He had the game, and suddenly now it's deuce.
That is Rafter.
That's a good return, but Rafter doesn't mind pace. If you don't get it low or make him stretch, he's going to make that volley.
Laura Feltham, Rafter says he won't get married while he's on the tour, but he fully expects to marry that woman.
Game. Rafter.
Rafter holds for 1-all.
One game.
Honestly, Jimmy, you get the sense, kind of keep waiting for Blake to just sort of go away quietly at this point.
You wait for Blake to go away or for Rafter to get a little bit pumped up, but I don't see it happening. I just expect Rafter to put on a show of athletic ability again, and we just haven't seen it from him today. Not the normal Rafter energy.
Maybe waiting for Rosetsky for that. Can't afford to, but maybe he is.
Well, here it is, a couple of errors on his favorite side, on the forehand side from Blake, the first 2 points, but he's come back all match long on his own serve. He's been in trouble many service games.
Speaking of comebacks, look who's come back. Hewitt just broke Mirny for the second set.
He was down 6-1, 3-1.
Well, he's doing exactly what he should do, and that is you just smile.
But that was the best I've seen Rafter move for a ball, the way he ran up for this drop shot. He ran up with a little bit of conviction, a little fire, and then got the break with the top of the net. As Blake would have been there to at least attempt a passing shot.
That's a little you so-and-so look. Triple break point.
Well, Blake's been here before at Love 40 and come back, and it was when he was serving to stay in the first set.
15-4.
Look at this record so far, 0 for 6 Rafter. He hasn't faced a break point, and he hasn't converted on one of his many chances. Here's a second serve. I keep expecting him to chip and charge. He keeps running back. I think he should chip and charge here.
34.
Or else play lefty. That's what he just tried on that forehand.
That's a heck of a lefty forehand.
Well, there you go. That could be the answer.
Can you hit that well, lefty?
I don't know.
I can't even hold a racket, lefty.
Game, Rafter.
There's the gift from Blake, all wrapped up in Tiffany blue. Rafter has his first break of James Blake's serve.
ESPN goes spanning the globe this August to bring you the world of sports. The thrills, spills, and unique athleticism of ESPN's exclusive X Games returns with X Game qualifying from Barcelona and Philadelphia. The Masters Series heads to Montreal and Cincinnati with the top players of the ATP competing in tournament action. The great football clubs of Italy compete in the Italian Summer Series. Take in the vast beauty and rugged competition with ESPN's outdoor games. The rough and tumble battles of the Scottish Premier League returns for the 2001-2002 season. The Major League Baseball pennant races head into the dog days of August. The glory and passion of Australia's national game is chronicled on ESPN's History of Cricket. The women of the LPGA hit the links for the State Farm Classic. The quest for the Scudetto is on again as a new Serie A season begins. Great action this August on ESPN. The Italian Summer Series on ESPN. Stars from the Serie A, Serie B, and more spend summer in Italy for top-notch preseason football. Tonight, Juventus, Inter, and AC Milan all compete in the triangular TIM Cup. The Senior PGA Tour continues. The great legends of golf travel around the world. Learn from the pros as they show off their best moves and compete for the chance at victory. First round of the 3M Championship Saturday on ESPN.
Pat Rafter had 6 opportunities to break James Blake's serve, and he waited until the 6th to do so. 1 break point in the 6th game in the first set. 4 break points in the 10th game. Those were set points. Couldn't capitalize, and now he's serving with new balls.
Well, at least James Blake's having fun. You can say that. He's had a very exciting first set where he had those chances, and even the let cord, you saw him smile now with this backhand pass, which he knows is a little better than he normally does from that side.
I may have to correct myself. It was the 7th break point. He had that love 40 point as well that he couldn't capitalize on. I guess my counting won't get me into Harvard.
Blake really gave away his service game in the last game. He made a lot of forehand errors and now another error. He's starting to become frustrated.
He's
James
unraveling.
Blake. That's an unbelievable half volley from Rafter. He just doesn't have the energy you normally see from him, but still has these hands. Even from behind the service line, you see that normally he's inside the service line for his first volleys.
Again, Rafter.
Rafter holds.
Rafter leads 3-1.
And now you get the sense that Rafter's going to do everything he can to lift the level and get this over with.
You would think, but I don't know if he has anything. He might just coast along and try to hold serve 3 more times.
Well, let me ask you, is this the downside to the Masters Series events? You're talking about a 64 draw in 1 week. So after the first round, you play every day. This summer hardcourt season.
I mean, it's a tough aspect of it.
Well, is it easier or harder than, say, the U.S. Open, which is brutal conditions, but you can play every 3rd day almost?
Well, but it's 3 out of 5 sets at the U.S. Open, so it's pretty even as you take a look at Rafter cleaning things up in the unforced error department, and Blake really falling apart in the 2nd set. Blake had a golden opportunity here because Rafter was not playing his best. But Blake's suddenly falling apart himself.
James Blake, the wheels are falling off. His coach, Brian Barker, They've been together since he was 10 years old. Blake, a wild card here at the Masters Series Cincinnati, and he is into the third round. His best showing at a Tennis Masters Series event. He is taking on Patrick Rafter down a set and down a break. This is the ATP Tennis Center in Mason, Ohio, across the banks from the Ohio River. I'm Cindy Schmerler along with Jimmy Arias. And it is a sweltering afternoon.
Nice play from Blake. Rafter needs to really give whatever he's got for these couple of points. Try to secure that second break. Then he could coast. Use some energy here on this return. Chip in charge. That's what I've been waiting for all day, that type of play. Finally, he hits a nice return and gets in with some authority.
Coming up next on ESPN, Guillermo Cañas of Argentina taking on Jan Michael Gamble. Cañas has already knocked out one former American champion in Michael Chang.
Deuce.
Seven break points saved, one capitalized.
Just a not foot moving return there. A very lazy little lunge. Rafter had another break point in this game, but he just doesn't have it today physically.
Again, Blake.
Blake saves yet another break point. Maybe we'll call him Break Blake or not Break Blake. Rafter's up 3-2.
With the 17-year-old entering the draft, it brings up the question yet again, how young is too young?
In other NBA news, the Golden State Warriors making headlines earlier today by announcing that in 19...
Sure, we all receive fan mail occasionally, but there are some sports center anchors who average a bag or two a week.
Thanks for the letter. Hugs and kisses, Melissa Stark.
The rest of us just try to help out when we can. You know, lighten the load.
Dear Fred, thanks for the letter. Hugs and kisses, Melissa Stark.
This is the way these championships have shaped up. 10 of 16 seeds knocked out in the first two rounds. Gustavo Kuerten needs to reach the semifinals, and he can finally exclusively be #1 in the world. He will knock Andre Agassi off his pedestal.
Defending champion Thomas Enquist out in the first round 2 weeks in a row to the same man, Nicholas Kiefer. And Enquist saying it doesn't matter who he plays right now, he's just now playing well.
Kiefer then went on to beat Todd Martin in a match that Martin characterized as stinky.
So Kiefer's played two guys that felt like they played stinky to get to the third round.
Except Tim Henman didn't play stinky. He beat Kiefer earlier today. Kiefer took an injury timeout in his match against Martin, 6 minutes worth. Martin said after that he just took the wind out of his sails and he lost concentration. That net has been very kind to Rafter today.
And unkind to Blake. Blake's volley at set point hit the top of the net and came back on his side.
He's going to have nightmares about that shot, you know.
Oh, for sure he will. And should have made this shot as well. He got a little too fancy. Blake's got some nice shots. He's just not polished yet. You can tell he hits some strange shots at times. His backhand needs a little work, as he said.
But his
volley is solid looking, technically.
But he's missed the cute shots. He was at his best when he was firing at the beginning.
Just straightforward power. That would be his best. This is Rafter at his best with that serve and volley. He finally got inside the service line. He really even lumbered to the chair on the change of sides that last changeover. Rafter, he has no energy, but he's still finding a way to hold serve. But it's not often you see Rafter not even take a lunge at a ball, and this is what happens. Second serve, he comes in, it's a nice return. He just says, nah, I'm not going to make an effort for that one. I'm going to pick my time when I do need to really lunge. Doesn't matter at 40 love.
Oh, sweet shot from Blake and Rafter right there.
Rafter leads 4 games to 2.
Blake has hit some nice fancy shots at times. That one was an unbelievable wrist flick that he got a lot of power off of.
Be interesting to see Rafter and Blake sit down and have a little chat. Blake talking about his studies. Rafter very self-taught. He hated school, but he read books on Hinduism and Buddhism, and he just knows there's plenty of life out there outside the tennis court.
Blake needs a little work on that second serve as well. It's attackable. Look at where Rafter returned it from. Blake, if he's going to serve and volley, has to get in quicker than that.
Blake Camp is over there discussing just that.
Well, that was Brad Stein along with Blake's coach.
Brad Stein, who guided the career of Jim Courier for a while.
15-30.
That's the story of this second set. And really, Blake has given it away. He hasn't realized that his opponent's on the verge of being out of this thing physically. Lleyton Hewitt has broken serve. What a comeback for him. 6-1, 3-1 down, now 3-1 up in the third and final set.
Blake now facing what could amount to a match point. You just don't expect to see Rafter hanging back there.
He just doesn't have any energy. He's not playing with his normal life that you see him. One of the great things about watching Rafter is how well he moves, how well he gets up to the net, how hard he works during the points.
Well, given that, is he in a way blessed that his next opponent, assuming he comes through here, is Greg Rosetsky.
Well, he certainly won't have to work hard in long rallies, but he still has to have more energy than he has here. He's going to have to be quicker up at the net.
He has to hope for a night match is what he has to hope for.
You might want to go ask after this match is over, can I play at night, please?
1 of 10 on break points.
Here's another opportunity with a second serve. He's done very little with these second serves, and they're not hit with a lot of pace.
That's what Rafter wanted, at a high backhand volley. He's got among the best punches in the game. Right now, he's punch drunk. He's serving for the match.
Nice going, Dad.
I am so proud of you. You know, I watched you very closely. You didn't screw up once.
Dad's actually kind of cute. Shut up.
Welcome to America's weirdest home videos.
American Beauty, coming soon to Movie One.
Coming soon to O, one of television's most acclaimed series, ER.
Somebody help her!
It's powerful human drama, the biggest hit of the 90s.
My mom says my dad's gonna die. Why can't you fix it?
Anthony Edwards.
You'll have a beautiful little boy.
George Clooney.
Okay, he's stabilized. Let's go.
Emmy award-winning drama
Clear.
at its very best. ER, coming soon to O.
Tomorrow's superstar drivers race today in the Dayton Indy Lights Series. The young drivers of kart hone their skills and race the same courses as the big boys. Dayton Indy Lights, Tuesday on ESPN. Celtic versus Hearts, Saturday on ESPN.
Peter Rafter, Tony Roach.
Paul Kildare in the red shirt.
Well, all the Aussies, that's Rafter's best friend. He's the one who actually gave Rafter the nickname Skunky. There are 2 reasons that Rafter's nicknamed Skunky. If he takes off his hat, you'll see a white spot on top. But when he had long hair, that was a white long streak. It's actually just a gray streak natural to his hair.
15.
So he looks a little like a skunk. The other reason, well,
he doesn't shower?
Close. It's his penchant for flatulence. And Kildare nicknamed him Skunky. It stuck.
Oh. 39.
2 points from the match.
I don't think James Blake realized what an opportunity he had today. He really could have been the player coming out on top. The way Rafter's performed with the energy level he's put into this match, but Blake just didn't realize it yet, and he doesn't have the experience.
Game, set match.
There it is, a love hold serve for Pat Rafter. His camp are more relieved than jubilant, as is he. But what a moment for James Blake. You kind of expect him right now to stand up there and say, could I pose for a picture with you? Sweet moment between these two. A little bit of a lesson for James Blake, the Harvard student. But what a memory. He's lost a tight one against one of the greatest, Patrick Rafter.
Well, Rafter survived this third-round match, but something not quite right physically with him, and he's going to have to get in the locker room, get some treatment, get in perhaps an IV to get some fluids into his body because he looked drained from the very beginning of the match. And James Blake had such a great opportunity, but I think he was just in awe of this situation. He was happy to be out there. He didn't know what to do when he found himself on the verge of winning that first set. It was a good effort for Blake, a good learning experience, and he'll take something away from this match. But he really could have won today, the way Patrick Rafter played.
21-year-old James Blake from Fairfield, Connecticut. Played Rafter close, but couldn't come out on top, and now Rafter moves on to face Greg Rosetsky.
These two played in the finals of the U.S. Open a few years ago, one of Rafter's 2 U.S. Open wins. So Rosetsky gets a chance for a little revenge here in Cincinnati in the quarterfinals. Lleyton Hewitt locked in a struggle with Max Mirny in the round of 16. Isha Marazi and Ivan Lubicic also in that section of the draw.
Patrick Rafter has moved on to the quarterfinals. He was runner-up at Wimbledon. He was runner-up in Montreal. He's into the quarterfinals in Cincinnati. Can he be runner-up here, or will he finally be the champion? It's been over a year since Rafter's won a title. We are part way into the quarterfinals in Cincinnati. James Blake will not be among them, but it will be a memory-filled day for the 21-year-old former Harvard student.
They look good, they handle pressure, they love the limelight. But how sharp are Australia's top athletes? Do their IQs match up to their CVs? Are their brains match for their brawn? Join us as we delve into these well-known heads as we tempt, tease and tantalise their highly trained intellect. We've got the superstars, we've got the mystery guests, we've got the most intriguing sports show on television. It's right here on ESPN's A Question of Sport. Check your local guides for details.
Patrick Rafter struggled in the first set, but he did prevail over James Blake, the wild card from Harvard University. Rafter has moved on into the quarterfinals of the Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati. He was runner-up last week. Rafter says this is his last year on tour, and he wants to make it a good one. He will now match up against Greg Rosetsky. This is the bottom half of the draw.
It's a wide open section of the draw for Lleyton Hewitt, although he's struggling a bit with Max Mirny. He's starting to take control of that match. Ivan Lubicic is a qualifier. And here's Patrick Rafter and Greg Rosetsky all the way through to the quarterfinals now. Rafter playing awfully well up until this match with Blake. He needs to get some more energy for this quarterfinal with Rosetsky.
This will be the 10th meeting between Rafter and Rosetsky. Jan-Michael Gamble will face Guillermo Cañas for the first time in his career. That is a round of 16 match tonight on ESPN. Check your local listings for times in your area. Rafter over James Blake to secure his spot in the quarterfinals. For my partner, Jimmy Arias, I'm Cindy Schmerler saying thanks for being with us, everybody. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.